Gaming history is full of ups and downs. Some genres dominate for years, then suddenly fade away. But every once in a while, a game comes along that refuses to let a genre die. These games didn't just bring back old favorites. They made them bigger than ever. Let's take a look at 10 games that revived dying genres. Rhythm games were mostly an arcade thing before Guitar Hero showed up. Then suddenly, everyone was a rock star. This game made plastic guitars a household necessity, revived the music game genre, and led to Rock Band and DJ Hero. By the early 2010s, Resident Evil had turned into an action series, and Silent Hill was pretty much dead. Then Resident Evil 7 came along, switched to first-person horror, and scared the life out of everyone. With limited resources, a creepy atmosphere, and relentless tension, it brought survival horror back from the grave. Remember those first-person dungeon crawlers from the 80s and 90s? Yeah, neither did most modern gamers. But the legend of Grimrock brought them back in style with classic grid-based movement, tricky puzzles, and intense combat. It showed that this old-school genre still had life left in it. Back in the day, run-and-gun platformers like Contra and Metal Slug were some of the best games around. But for over a decade, the genre was practically extinct. Then Cuphead burst onto the scene with jaw-dropping hand-drawn animation and brutally tough gameplay. It didn't just revive the genre, it became a modern classic. Tactical turn-based games ruled the 90s, but by the 2000s, the genre was collecting dust. Then XCOM, Enemy Unknown, showed up, modernized the formula, and proved that strategy games could be just as intense as action shooters. Even today, tons of games try to copy XCOM's formula, but nothing quite matches the gold standard set by XCOM and XCOM 2. Once upon a time, CRPGs were PC gaming royalty. Then they just disappeared. But Divinity, Original Sin, brought them back in style. Deep strategy, co-op gameplay, and the freedom to mess with the world however you wanted. It made old-school RPGs feel fresh again. And without it, we probably wouldn't have Baldur's Gate 3, one of the greatest RPGs ever.
Careful there, hunters. Are you sure you want to descend even deeper?
Harvest Moon was awesome until it wasn't. The franchise lost its magic, and the farming sim genre was slowly fading. Then a single developer decided to make the ultimate farming game, and Stardew Valley was born. It didn't just revive farming sims, it redefined them, inspiring games like my time at Portia and Coral Island. By the late 2000s, most RPGs were holding your hand, easy combat, waypoints everywhere, and not much challenge. Then Dark Souls showed up and said, "Get good." It brought back tough-as-nails gameplay, deep world building, and intense boss fights, kicking off an entire genre. Without Dark Souls, we wouldn't have games like Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Sekiro, or half of the indie action games we see today. Remember when shooters were all about speed, crazy weapons, and non-stop action? Then the genre got bogged down by cover mechanics and realism. Doom, 2016, came in like a wrecking ball, fast, brutal, and dripping with adrenaline. No regenerating health, no hiding behind walls, just pure old-school arena shooter chaos. It reminded everyone why Doom was the OG and gave us the revival the FPS world desperately needed. Stealth strategy games were legendary in the early 2000s with Commandos and Desperados, but then poof, they vanished for nearly a decade. Just when fans thought the genre was gone for good, Shadow Tactics swooped in and proved there was still a place for hardcore tactical stealth gameplay. This revival led to Desperados 3 and Shadow Gambit. And now, after 20 years, we're finally getting a new Commandos game.